This is my review of episode 5 of Magic and Muscles. The anime is on Netflix. You can go check it out if you want to. If not, watch this video. There's going to be spoilers and things like that just because it's a review. So, what else do you expect in videos such as this? And I know that this is different from the other content that I've made on the channel beforehand, but I'm trying to test things out to see if I can reach new people. And this anime dude is trippy because Marsh, he doesn't have any magic powers, but these two people do have magic powers. This guy ended up giving him a spell to be able to turn this turnip-looking thing to stop it from crying and weeping. So that's what he ended up doing because he ended up getting beat by showing him his sister and everything like that. And Marsh was like, okay, well, this is weird and strange, but whatever. I don't really care. They end up having this whole little conversation, talking about the things that they end up talking about. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and they just want to go make this thing. He pulls out, like I said, this weird looking thing. I don't even know what it is, but he pulls out this screaming little turnip thing, a mago, blah, 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 blah. And there's probably something like that in Harry Potter as well, too. I'm trying to think of what it would be. It's got to be some sort of, magical item. I'm thinking of, the Howling Whistles or Whispers or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I know what you guys know what I'm talking about. So he ends up trying to use the magic. He tells him the magical way to be able to hush the thing. He ends up hushing the thing. Marsh's thing is so big, gigantic, and massive. In the background, I was like, what even is this? What is going on right now? This thing's a riot. He's just screaming and yelling, and Marsh is like, you know what? Shut up. And he just slaps it. He ends up falling asleep. Once they're asleep, they just cooperate like normal vegetables. He ends up making this thing. He goes through it. It's like, oh, it's that easy. It's not that easy. Marsh is like, yep, you got it. You got to be lying. He ends up doing the smash. Does the whole little thing, the little magic thing, and then he ends up getting a cream puff. It's like, how does he get a cream puff? I don't know, but he does. These little things do, it's just so weird to me. It's so strange, but it's so funny. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But I needed something dumb and stupid because I've always been this serious person. I'm you gotta do this. You gotta be rigid. You gotta be complacent. You gotta do the things in the order that it is. But have some fun. Enjoy it. How does he get a cream puff out of the exact recipe that he ended up doing for him? This was a little bit weird as well, too, for me personally. This isn't the stuff that I've ever really watched or enjoyed, but I did enjoy this quite a bit because, even these little lighthearted moments, when push comes to shove, Marsh is very, determined and willing to do, the right thing. He ends up listening to, the recipe in the ways that he needs to, and last. And then it's boom, he still gets a cake, a cream puff. It's I watched him from start to finish. How do you end up doing that? She's I don't know. Why is he so confident? Well, yeah, you're completely useless when not fighting. He's well, yeah. Why is he so confident? Because when you know what you know, you know what you know. And when you know what you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So he ends up going this, I don't want to lose to you ever again. There's a lesson I need. It's none of your business, yada, yada, yada. They end up going through this whole spiel about talking about how they're all powerful and the things that they go on. Headmaster's wondering what's happening and if he'll actually be okay. They end up running into this other dude. This dude thinks he's the main character, which I highly recommend you doing the same thing too, because we all are the main characters of our own story, regardless of whatever it is that you think that it is. He's the main character, he's also the main character, but the other guy is also the main character. It's a little bit of a trip when you think about it. You are the main character. Well, he's also the main character, but everybody else also isn't the main character because he's the main character of his story. It's it's my story and you're living in it just as much as it's your story and you're living in it. We all have these different ways of being able to view the world. So he's just eating his little cream puffs. They all taste the same, but they're a little bit different. They go down this whole forest adventure. It's just what do you do in the forest? And he's camp. And then they just have the nice little time camping. He's roasting a little cream puff here. I don't know what it is with the cream puffs, dude. Within this, what is the definition of a cream? Here, let's check this out for each other. So we have cream puffs. What are cream puffs? Cream puffs, let's do meaning. I don't want to show this on screen just in case. A cake made of light pastry filled with cream. A weak or ineffectual person. Interesting. Ineffectual. What is an ineffectual? Yeah, we're going down a different route right now, you guys. Not producing any or producing any or the desired effects. A person lacking the ability or qualities to cope with a role or situation is ineffectual. And then informal, a weak or informal person. So does that mean that Marsh is a weak and informal person? Maybe, probably, in all likelihood. But the dude's also super strong, so I don't really. Maybe that's the contradiction between the cream puffs. Is what does a cream puff mean in slang? A weak or timid person. But Marsh is not weak or timid. I mean, maybe he's a little timid, but he's not weak by any means. But maybe he also is weak until he needs to stand up. But once he starts to stand up, then he's good for himself and be there's no correlation to that. But I don't know. It's also could just be a fucking joke because everything is just it's all a joke at the end of the day. And oh Oh, boys. Oh, boys. What are we going to do? Okay, so what is it the mushroom head people keep talking about? Because he does kind of look like a mushroom head. Like, if you think about it, it's like he looks like a side character to me. He ends up just ignoring him, talking about going back to the girl. This guy gets all pissed off. He ends up spitting on him. Marsh, he doesn't really care. It's like, I'll kill you. He gets all upset. He wants to decrease the ratio, have all more girls fall in love with him. Then he wants the other girls to fall in love with other dudes. But like, this is also the weird shit. Like, I just don't, it's so over the top, but it's like, you kind of have to be a little bit over the top because like that's what like draws the attention, at least when it's in like an animated form, even when it's in like a IRL form as well too. You kind of have to be all over the top. They're giving these like little freakouts of like what the things are going to be facing. This guy ends up coming in. He's kind of a dick. He saw like the magic that he did. He smashes Marsh in the stomach with like his magical powers. Marsh gives him the look, but the reason he gives him the look is because of his cream puff. I thought he crushed my cream puff. Like, that's all he says. Right here. Right here. I thought he crushed my cream puff. And that's where the other guys is like, that's why he made that face? So, it really depends on, like, what you're motivated by, the things that you do need. This girl's also a conniving little, snapping little bitch in the back. So, just keep that in mind. They end up going down this whole little path, doing the things that they end up doing. The magic ends up happening. She gets a little bit more power. She tries to get him to fall in love with him, but she's also like being a conniving, stabbing, little backstabbing bitch, which I always thought this too. Like back in the day, like when people's knees touch, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like back in high school, I remember there was this one girl that I had a big crush on, and her and I, we touched knees, and I would like have all these different thoughts going in my mind. I was like, oh, okay, well that's kind of neat. He ends up like having this whole little love fest for her, smashing his head, and she's like, well, he's completely fallen from him because of my magic. She tries to do the same thing with Marsh, but Marsh is so dense in the head that he just doesn't even see anything that's coming up. She tries to enhance her magical ability to be able to convince Marsh, but Marsh only ever thinks about one thing, just as much as you only need to ever think about one thing, and that's why like the rose ends up actually dying, and she's like, does he seriously not find me attractive? This bitch needs to get out of her head and realize like, maybe not, I'm not the most attractive. Maybe the world doesn't revolve around me. But that's also the same thing that can be said about the other dude, where it's just like, he is the main character because we are all the main character. But when somebody doesn't necessarily want to relate to you, you have a different way of being able to view the things than you originally had to view them in the first place. So, bro, you didn't really save me. He didn't save him. Such a facial defeat. Ends up going through. She's talking about how this dude's like all aggressive and mean to her. She's playing this little role, which dude, sometimes these women will be fucking manipulative, bro. Like it's crazy. Like she's just making up these tears to be able to make this dude feel bad, so that he ends up standing up against this dude right here. Tells him he'll kill him. This guy reminds me of someone, I don't know who, but somewhere in some place. How he ends up whistling is actually pretty neat as well. He ends up throwing like the magical powers, die twice. Marsha's just over there eating his like little cream puffs. Because that's all he really cares about. He just wants to use his cream puffs, have a little good time. He's a little bit dense in the head, but that's okay because when he does fight, like, this is the thing. Like, you only have to be really good at one thing. At least that's what I look at. So you don't have to be good at everything. Other guy's hoping he's not fighting him. Uses his magic power. Ends up going through. Says he's going to kill him. Marsh gets cream puff on his face, and he's like, oh, well, all right, I don't really care. Like, the dude just doesn't have, like, the emotional intelligence, but nothing wrong with that. He's still strong as shit, and he knows what he's doing for the reasons why he's doing it. So, yeah, that was episode, 5 of this review series. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you made it to the end of the video, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.